Hey everybody, what's up? What's up? It is Kristen. It is Sunday. It's like 12:45 and I'm really excited to talk to you guys. I gotta figure out how to hold this phone up a little bit better angle. Okay, much better. So let's talk anger, right? I know it's kind of like, what? On a Sunday, she wants to talk about anger. I just got back from church, and I, as many, or maybe you guys don't know, but this is something new, very new to me. I did not grow up with church in my life or any kind of education about it. So whatever it is that I have learned up until these 34 years has been either from, and I'll be honest, movies, from random quick little short stories, and or maybe like little kid books that my kids have received. So it's just within this last 30 days. This would be my fourth Sunday going to church, and this is my very first Bible that I have ever owned in my entire life. And yes, I did. I covered it up. I didn't mean for it to be glitter and sparkly, but I mean that kind of is a bonus, and actually it's upside down. It's this way. So my very first Bible, my very first 30 days going to church, and really trying to learn, trying to open and open myself, open my ears to really hear and listen and understand the message, the stories, and kind of also just put it together. I mean, you guys, for somebody who's a newbie, you know, like this thick of a book, it's a lot of stories, a lot of lessons, a lot of being able to kind of like have to, dissect, apply to my life, to my understanding, but then also kind of then, you know, I need like the idiot's guide, you know, I need like the cliff notes as well to kind of break it down into, okay, what does that mean in real life terms or in words that I can understand, you know, maybe like a lay person. But what I really enjoyed is that it is literally the one time of my week, the 1 hour of my week that is really 100% solely just for me. I'm not going there for anybody else. I'm not going to try to learn for someone else, to try to then take my notes to share with somebody else and teach them. I don't have my kids with me when I'm doing it. Either they're with their dad, or the plan is for them to get involved into the kids program there as well. So they can learn, they can be immersed in it, and then when they get older, they can make the decision and be just a little bit more educated, as well as then just having those options. But the reason why I wanted to come here and talk, and hopefully you guys talk too, I'm going to try and see, I don't always see the comments up here, which is a bummer on my phone, so I'm going to also be looking here on my computer. So if you see me looking up at the computer, it's just because I want to check and see if you're commenting. Was today they were talking about anger and quarreling, or anger and fighting. And I don't know about you, maybe you go to church, or you listen to podcasts, or you have devotionals, or whatever, maybe you have daily meditation, or whatever it is that you go through. There are moments where I'm sure you're like, that message was so directed for me. Like, how did they know I needed to hear that? How did they know that is exactly the struggle that I'm currently going through? And of course, it's because it's not just me, that there are millions and hundreds of other people who probably are going through similar situations or need that same message. And it's kind of a lot like what it is that I do, that I share every single day, what I'm doing, what I'm eating, how I'm working out, where my mental state is, my past and how I'm working through that, current situations and how I'm being able to try to learn and be better. It's not just for myself to heal and to grow, but it's also to let other people know, hey, you're not alone. I'm going through this too. So let's connect. So here we go. Let's connect, okay? I want to talk about anger and fighting. And so I asked you these 3 questions into being able to like visually picture either a person, an experience, something when you read, or if you're not going to hear me say the sentences of she is angry. So maybe close your eyes and think, who do you picture when it's she is angry? Or what experience are you feeling when you hear me say she is angry? I've got mine. Now, same thing when you hear the sentence he is angry. What is that image that pops up in your mind? What is that experience? What do you feel? And then lastly, same thing when you hear the sentence I am angry. What is that first image? Maybe exactly currently at this moment. Maybe something you're going through. Maybe, maybe somebody cut you off or whatever, I'm angry. What is that image, the experience that pops up, and how do you feel? And when they brought this up to me this morning, it was like, oh yeah, that anger is a complex human response or reaction to a complex world that we live in. And that a lot of times we just react. And I know that's something that I have been definitely working on very much so for a couple years, in that when things are said to you or things happen to you, instead of just automatically going into that fight or flight mode and just reacting, think first and kind of go back and maybe re-say whatever was happening. Listen, and don't react, and don't be so quick to respond in that same level of anger or frustration or whatnot. Instead of always going back to that fight or flight and wanting to then fight about it, why not, I don't know, in a better way? It's more just like less reacting and more listening. Well, why am I talking about anger? Well, it's just something that it was a topic, and it's kind of something that I'm going through right now. So that's why I was asking, just thinking about those moments when you, about anger and being angry. So being angry at this point in life, it's what you do in the moment, because life is not just black and white. It's not just right and wrong. It's not that simple. If it was, then it'd be a lot less complex things going on, right? But anger is not necessarily just bad either. You can be angry, and it can be a good thing, because it can be something that somebody's doing wrong or being hurtful. And so then it then sparks that anger in you, that fire in you to then to correct wrongs, or to go and protect someone, to support somebody. So anger, I'm not going to say is necessarily just like a bad thing and about fighting all the time. But when it comes to when you go that direction and you are angry and you choose to fight, that's what I kind of wanted to talk about. And so he talks about, or today we were listening and about the different words. Some people don't want to say fight. They want to say quarreling. Somebody want to say anger. Some want to say that, it's about being right or wrong, or you want to hurt somebody, you want to get payback, that kind of thing. And so, or that it's rage, those are all talking about very much the same kind of things. And that what causes fighting and what causes fighting amongst us is that we're not getting what we want, what we desire, or our passions, right? And so that is why we end up becoming angry and why we fight. So whether it's fighting against someone else, fighting within ourselves, maybe fighting with God, whatever it is, it's because we're not getting what we want, because we're being selfish. We're only asking for things for us, what we need, what we want. We're only seeing our side. And so that's what happens. When you desire something, you don't get it, you don't have it, then you fight. And so then we react by like an over desire. So because we didn't get what we want, now we really want it like even more. And we're going to then just either kill people, we're going to then just decimate people, we're going to just completely cut them at the legs, we're going to, try to just, make them have a horrible reputation. We're going to do whatever it takes so we can get what we want. But then at the end, what happens? Do we really feel that great? Do we really feel like we won after we've been fighting and quarreling? I would say for myself, no. I don't feel better after all of that. It's kind of, I just feel exhausted and then be like, okay, now what? I got what I wanted. And sometimes it's not even that exciting because you inflated it. It's that over desire again. So I know for me, it's super, super easy to get angry. It's super easy to react. It's super easy to just go through and enlist in that rage and then just blah and go ahead and just screw over whoever it is that is against you, that's not doing what you want them to do, or it's not getting you what you want or how you wanted it done or any of that kind of stuff. And I know for myself, kind of a bit of a control freak and a bit OCD, so it is hard and struggles at times to be able to accept, like, you know what? Not everyone's going to do it the way I want to do it. Not everyone's going to do it the way that I think it should be done. But I have to believe and give and have faith for those people that I do have in my life, that they're competent enough. And if they know my true desires, they know my true passions, they know my end goal, they will help me get there. They will help me to get whatever it is that I'm desiring, that I'm wanting, that I'm needing. Just might not be in the direction and the path that I am choosing or that I think is right. Because really, like I said, there's no right or wrong. Just because I think in one way doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right way or the best way. So as long as that I'm not doing anything out of anger, that I'm not doing anything out of selfishness, and that I am trying to be wise and calm and avoid the strife, avoid, venting when I'm at that peak of complete anger and frustration and just being pissed off. Another thing was that with social media now, you guys know that at a drop of a hat, anybody, if they're pissed off because somebody cut them off, they're going to be on that phone texting something, If someone, has a different opinion on whatever it is, on maybe, whether or not you mix black and brown together in your wardrobe, or whether or not, like broccoli is an inflammatory food. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has an opinion, but everybody feels that their opinion is right and that they have the right to put it out there and to impose it on other people. And that's where context becomes hard. And then that's where everyone is so quick to speak, so quick to just respond back, boom, 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 boom. And then what happens? We're all angry, we're all pissed, and I'm sure the person who put the thing out there never even thought twice about really the impact that one just diarrhea of the mouth was going to do. I've done that too, and I have definitely regretted some comments, like, oh my gosh, maybe that was super passive aggressive, or maybe that shouldn't have been said, or sometimes I'll be like, you know what, if you think that that's directed to you, then that's on you, because I didn't put any names, I didn't put any, any specifics. But still, if I know that might instill some kind of anger, then I probably just shouldn't put it out there, because that's not what you guys need to read. That's not what I need to be putting out there in general into the world. No, we already have enough negativity. We already have enough anger. We already have enough opposition in the world based just off of the news that we see and what's going on in the world. You don't need this unnecessary, stupid fluff of every single stinking opinion being put out there. There are certain things that, yes, you need to be very strong and you need to stick with it, but just every little flipping thing, it's not really necessary, I'm sure there are things that I need to work on, being a friend, being a mother, I'm sure here's an example, there'll be days where it's just crazy loud. Maybe I'm trying to get some work done, or I'm trying to work out, or I'm trying to talk on the phone with somebody, and then the kids are just running around screaming, and it's fine. They're getting along, and then all of a sudden it's like they're arguing and they're screaming and this and that, and things are just getting out of control. So what happens? What do? It's already at that super loud level. Do I stay calm? No, what do I do? I naturally, instinctively, I react and I yell and I'm like, be quiet, right? I get even louder. Yet that's not what I wanted them to do. I wanted them to be quiet. I wanted them to be calm. I wanted them to work things out. But instead, I exhibited the behavior the opposite behavior of what I wanted. I did exactly what they were doing that I was getting pissed off at, right? And I yelled even louder. And what is their reaction? Oh, yes, mommy, we're so sorry. We won't fight. We won't argue. Like whatever it is that you need. Heck no, they don't do that. They just look at me and then they keep going because I did not show an example of what was supposed to be done, what I want them to do, right? It just happens. So if you're a dad, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe they're constantly, pulling on your leg or constantly, dad, and it's just like, what do you want? That's just our natural reaction. And that is still a piece of anger. It's not, anger is a spectrum as well, right? So it's kind of learning to not be so quick to vent, not be so quick to speak and to react and just blah, and kind of like our mind shut off and things just came out, to really be slow to speak, to actually listen, to maybe think twice. Maybe sometimes we do need to listen to what we've been telling our kids or what we heard growing up, is that we need to think twice about what it is that comes out of our mouth. And it's the same thing when it comes to our kids, when it comes to dealing with coworkers, when it comes to dealing with spouses or friends or partners or whatever it is, because there's going to be different times, whether, fighting and anger can affect, a marriage. It can, affect, you're slandering somebody and you're affecting their reputation. It can turn friends into enemies. Maybe it splits people within a single church. It can affect, family members just within one unit. There's so many ways that fighting, quarreling, disagreements, anger, strife, being a fool, whatever all those words, that whatever is your key, your trigger word, it affects it. And it was kind of just like mind blown moment. I wrote down a ton of, I call them like my nuggets. And so that's kind of why I really just wanted to come on here, because I think a lot of times that's what we're going through right now. A lot of change within the world, our own country here, whether we're talking about healthcare or, elected officials and, just how we're handling certain things, whether it comes with education, the police, all that stuff. We immediately are so quick to responding with anger and only thinking about our position, where we are, how we are in our shoes. It is very hard to think in context about what somebody else is thinking, how somebody else is feeling when we are fueled by anger. So there's a couple of things that I just kind of want to throw out there, and then I'm kind of just going to be done because I need to go back and I need to reread and kind of just also fill up this brain with some useful information now. But that it is better to be a patient person than a fighter, than a warrior, whatever word you want to use. That it is the goal for all of us is to kind of avoid strife. The wise will avoid strife, and that fools will automatically be so quick to fight and react. Or that fools vent while the wise are being calm. I don't know if any of those kind of like stick to you, or if they're like, ooh, that's a good one. That context is hard, and so we need to be slow to speak and quick to listen. Rage is easy and it creates traffic. Got a couple more. Quarreling, or if you need to use the word fighting, destroys your soul. So, I want to ask you, what causes quarrels and what causes fights amongst you? Right? What causes quarrels or fighting? I'll say what causes quarrels, meaning arguments, and what causes fights amongst you? And for me, this is my answer. Maybe it's not yours, but for me, it's that my passions or desires are at war within me. Pretty much that I have a desire, I didn't get what I wanted, so now I'm going to fight, or I'm going to argue, or I'm going to go tit for tat, right? That is what it means to me. What causes quarreling, what causes anger is that I have really strong passions or desires, and I didn't get what I wanted, and so I'm at war within myself because I didn't get it. So now somebody has to pay, right? That's kind of how our life and our world is. That is, in a nutshell, how I function. Is that right? Probably not. But that's why I'm sharing this with you, to let you know, because maybe you're thinking the same way. Maybe you can share with me a kind of little nugget, a way to just switch it or flip it, a little tweak. And that to not overreact by that over desire, and to not get mad at life, and to not be angry, and to not want to fight about it, every little thing, tooth and nail, to go tit for tat for everything, just so that you can prove that you're right, to be proud, because just, in the end is that God gives us more grace. He shows us more grace. But he's going to oppose those who are proud. So if you think that your poo-poo don't stink, that you are right in everything, that what you are doing is justified, that there is no place for you to change, to improve, to correct, I'm going to oppose you. So I'm going to end this in that. This is what I ask every single night, because this is all so new to me, in that I submit myself to God and I ask him to open up my eyes, my ears, and my heart, and so that I can just love anyway. That through whatever anger, through whatever is thrown at me, whatever, hateful stuff, whatever slander is said about me, that I'm able to open myself and really just see, hear, and have my heart open, so that I can see everything. I can really filter through everything and not be guided by my own judgments and my own personal fears and my own personal desires and passions. So hopefully that helped you guys a little bit. If you're going through a tough time, I'm going through definitely a transitional moment, chapter in my life. So being angry at myself, being angry at situations, being angry at other people, being angry at just whatever, kind of comes into life quite often. But so glad that I have this. So glad that I have different passages to go back into and to read, and that I have another outlet of a great community to be able to ask and not feel like I'm being judged and not feel stupid for not knowing these things at my age. So hopefully that you guys can find some wisdom in nuggets in what I've been sharing, and that you don't feel that you're alone, and that maybe you can make little tweaks for the next few days until I share with you guys more nuggets that I learn along the way in this journey. But definitely I feel a lot better, and a better plan and a better action items for me to handle when anger and quarreling are presented to me, and that I do not react, and I do not react with over desires as well. So have a fantastic and wonderful Sunday. Hopefully you can stay cool here in Arizona. It's still going to be in the freaking 90s. But yes, just have a fabulous day, and I love you guys. Thank you all for being here and for coming on and listening to me ramble, and for your continued support. It really does mean a ton, especially in this time, to know that I still have some amazing supporters in my life. So I'm going to tear up, so I'm going to go, so I'm going to do ugly cry. Bye, guys.